Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Missing Frames. This is the podcast where we watch all the movies we should have seen by this point in our lives. I'm your host, Shawn Eastridge. We're hanging out on the Nerd Party Network, a collection of podcasts dedicated to all things entertainment. Check it out at thenerdparty.com. You can follow us on Twitter at Join Nerd Party. You can also like the Facebook page and follow us on Instagram. It's just at the Nerd Party. And this is actually the first official Missing Frames episode. We've been doing a lot of Between Takes episodes this year, but this is the first official Missing Frames episode of 2022, and it seems fitting that the person who should help me ring in this new year is none other than my wife, Sarah, who is back after a long hiatus. Welcome back.
Thank you.
I know you've missed talking to me about movies.
I've missed all the frames.
You've missed all the frames. You've missed talking. We don't talk about movies unless it's on this podcast.
We don't talk at all.
We don't actually speak until we are recording.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is definitely a treat for me. I'm sure it's a treat for you. I know without a shadow of a doubt that it is. But we realized, because I say that as if it was like a revelation to us, but it literally is. We're not sports people. We don't follow sports, but we realized that Super Bowl Sunday is, well, it's today. And we wanted to celebrate with a sports movie, even though we're not sports people. And
we can pretend.
We can pretend. We can get into, look, there is one day a year that I am a sports fan, and it is the Super Bowl. I was raised in a family of wild football fans, and they are obsessive. My dad was a huge football fan. My mom, they were really into Virginia Tech. Football runs in my family. I am the odd one out. I was the nerdy one waiting for halftime so I could play video games on the only TV in the house and desperately waiting for the game to end.
Or waiting for Bruce Springsteen.
Yes. Well, that was, by that point I was a Super Bowl fan, and Bruce Springsteen only encouraged that love and empowered it. But this is all to say, I don't pay attention to sports. I don't pay attention to football, but I do get really excited for the Super Bowl. And I figure, why not celebrate with a sports movie that's football related? And it's a movie that I love and I have not seen in many years, but you have never seen. No. And that is Rudy.
Yeah, which I thought was Hoosiers. But they are two different movies.
It is two different movies, but they are directed by the same person, which is David Anspaugh. Anspaugh. It is a tradition on Missing Frames for me to not pronounce a single name of anybody correctly. It is a professional show you have tuned in to. Yes, but Rudy, 1993, Sean Astin. This is the first time I'd seen Sean Astin in anything. I hadn't seen The Goonies. I didn't grow up with that movie. So Rudy was what I was most familiar with when he got cast as Sam in Lord of the Rings. I was like, oh, Rudy, how awesome. But this is a movie I remember seeing as a kid. I think my dad introduced it to me, and I really liked it as a kid. I thought it was fine. When I say I was I really liked it, I thought it was fine. Those two things don't correlate. I thought it was fine. And then it's such a weird story. I think it was maybe it was on the eve of my 12th or 13th birthday. I woke up at 3, 4 in the morning, couldn't sleep. And I just remember going downstairs. My grandpa, they were in town for Thanksgiving because my birthday happens to fall on Thanksgiving weekend. So grandparents were in town. Grandpa was always awake because it was 4 in the morning, and that's what grandparents do. They're awake at odd hours. I was awake at an odd hour, and I remember just kind of being like, oh, you know what, I kind of just want to watch Rudy. I haven't seen it in a while. And I put it on just sort of as something to pass the time since I was awake, and I think my grandpa fell asleep immediately. But I just remember that was the moment where I watched it and it kind of clicked with me, and I realized oh, this is a really special movie. This is really great. And since then I've loved it. But I don't think I've seen it since I was in high school. So it's probably been about 17, 18 years.
Dating yourself.
Oh my God. It's no longer, I was thinking it was 2020, but I also forget that the past 2 years have been sucked into a black hole thanks to COVID.
Yeah.
But that was when I first saw it, and I saw it as a kid, saw it again a little bit older as a teenager, and really embraced it and loved it, and would say it was one of my favorite movies. I'm a little nervous revisiting it because I haven't seen it in such a long time. I remember being so fond of it. I think it's a very touching film. It's of course an inspirational sports film, and those can certainly go too far in the direction of cloying and sentimental and like kind of gooey, sappy. Yeah. But I remember this one having like a very sincere core, and I think a lot of that comes from Sean Astin's performance, which is just so great. But I think I brought this up yesterday if you'd seen it, and you were like, no, I haven't. But do you know anything prior to me bringing it up? Had you heard of it?
Well, I think I was like, yeah. And then I described the plot of Hoosiers.
Yes.
So,
you were like, wait, is this
no,
Hoosiers? And then we found out it was the same director, which is amazing.
Which is funny.
Which is like, I think these are the only two movies he really did. Like he did a couple other sports films.
I mean, they're both iconic.
Yeah, I mean, those are not
movies,
those are not bad movies to have
to be
under
associated
your belt.
with.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I don't really know much about this. I mean, I know that it's Notre Dame, and it's football.
It's Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Not Notre Dame. I think I don't know. I say that as if I'm an expert on the subject. I don't know if Notre Dame is how you pronounce the I don't even know what it is. I'm really glad
you said it with
I don't even know
authority,
what it is.
And then you're like, wait.
Let's just cut. If we could just cut all of this, Sean. If you listen to this later, just cut all of this out. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well,
but I think Notre Dame
in Paris.
I think the college, cathedral. The university is Notre Dame.
All right.
We'll find out when we watch the movie, I guess.
I don't know. So
I don't know either.
You could have just said it with direct authority.
I don't know either.
And not backtrack.
And if I find out that I was right later on, then I will be surprised because, as I said, I butcher names on this show, so that would be a shock. But you know that it's about Notre Dame, and
it's Sean Astin, and he has great hair in the trailer.
Yeah.
Which we watched like 40 seconds of the trailer and then turned it off.
Yeah,
because they used to tell the whole plot in the trailer. I
started to realize I think they're telling the whole story.
Yeah, we got like a quarter. I was like, okay,
because this is based on a true story.
Yeah,
and we'll talk a little bit more about maybe some of the embellishments, what happened and what didn't happen. I was reading some interesting things about that, but yeah, I don't know much. I adore Sean Astin. I mean, he's wonderful, and it'd be great to go back and watch some of his older films because I feel like I've seen like it's like Goonies. There's like little Sean Astin, and then Lord of the Rings, and then I don't have a lot in between. Well, it's funny. I like looking at his film. I mean, like Sean Astin,
and then Stranger Things. Like that's my.
Well, Sean Astin is such an incredible actor.
He's been in so many things.
I mean, Lord of the Rings is, I think between Goonies and Lord of the Rings, I mean, you know who Sean Astin is. But I think this is, like, so he'd been in a few things. He was in War of the Roses, which I haven't seen. The Goonies was that was his first thing. It was his big breakthrough.
He did sitcoms and stuff. Like he guest starred on Tony Danza's
I guess he
show.
did. He'd been on a little bit here and there, but like, as far as I see, and I mean, this looks to be reinforced by his filmography, but he was in Encino Man the year before, which is just a ridiculous, goofy movie with Brendan Fraser and Pauly Shore. But Rudy, Pauly Shore, who is the voice of Pinocchio.
Sorry, my brain just went somewhere else.
Animated movie, which, by the way, unrelated, but please. Look up the trailer for the new Pinocchio animated movie starring Pauly Shore as the titular character. It is, I've never heard a voice performance so stunning.
I think you're going to have to put a clip in.
Yeah, I wish, maybe, I don't know if I'm capable of accomplishing something like that, but I really hope our listeners will pause this and go listen to that and come back. The completely unrelated tangent. But no, so I think like The Goonies, of course, is like wonderful and charming and sweet. It's a fun movie. Yeah. But Rudy, and just looking at this, and I haven't seen these other movies, so I don't know that he was the main character or to what extent like it was like, yes, his dramatic chops. But Rudy, I felt like was his first, like, it was his lead role. It was a dramatic role. Like it was kind of the movies on his shoulders. Like, I mean, I think of Rocky because Rocky, Rudy, they're both inspirational sports movies, but very similarly, like how Sylvester Stallone carries that movie. It's really about him. And I guess Talia Shire, because of their love story, it certainly split a little bit. But in this, Sean Astin really has to carry the entire movie. It's all about him. And I think this is really his first role like that as far as like proving his dramatic chops. I could be wrong. Again, I haven't seen the other movies, but I do feel like this was like a big breakthrough for him. And I feel like he was talking about that when he was on the Michael Rosenbaum podcast, Inside of You, and talking about how like there are certain moments in this film that he felt like he's the most proud of as far as his career. And I can understand that. Like it's been a long time since I've seen it, but I do remember very vividly certain scenes from the film that I found very moving. But
I think I'm gonna like it.
I think
I'm
will.
kind of a sucker for an inspirational.
I think it
flick.
works. It's without going too much into it, we'll talk more about it. But I think despite whatever stereotypes it gives into as far as the genre is concerned, there's a sincerity at its core that keeps it from kind of flipping over into like full on saccharine, where it's kind of just like a little too sweet. It feels very earned in a way.
Is this the 80s? Late 80s?
The movie was released in 93.
Oh, 90s.
And I think it takes place, the film takes place in like the 50s, 60s. I think it was released in the late 60s, 70s, like early 70s is when this movie takes place. But there
is anyone else in it that I would know?
Jon Favreau is in it, which is kind of fantastic.
That's fun.
Again, I remember when he started directing stuff, I was like, Jon Favreau, the guy from Rudy. Yeah, that was his friend in Rudy. Vince Vaughn, I think, has a part in it.
Oh, wow.
Ned Beatty, who plays Otis in Superman and is in no other film, as far as that's not true at all. But as far as I'm concerned, he's Otis, and that is how I choose to remember him. Yeah, I think you mentioned Lily Taylor, like she's in this.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't wasn't she in an episode of like X-Files or something? Yeah, she was in X-Files. I watched that episode more recently. But I'd forgotten she was in that. But she was in a show you liked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember the name of the show for our audience in case they're desperate to learn more about her career?
6 Feet Under? Am I blanking?
Maybe
Can I
it
Google?
is. I think you can. We do have Google on our budget. Let's see. I'm looking at it right now. Yes, she was in 6 Feet Under.
Yes, I'm so good.
So
Pat me on the back.
So there are people, many people that you've heard of, and music by Jerry Goldsmith, which it's an amazing soundtrack, and I guarantee you've heard this soundtrack because they used it in so many movie trailers. Like if it was an inspirational movie being released in the 90s, they used the soundtrack. Like it's a wonderful soundtrack, and it's very, very iconic. But yeah,
I'm excited.
Do you want to try to guess what it's about? What the plot's about?
Yeah, sure.
What's his name?
Rudy?
Yes. So far, so good. Okay. Just testing
all I
you.
got.
Yes, I want to make sure.
Rudy needs to prove himself.
Yes.
Because he's small in stature. He's a hobbit.
Yes. He is, yeah.
No, actually, I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming, the whole thing seems like I need to prove myself and get on the football team and, do a Hail Mary. I'm describing Hoosiers again. I don't know.
Hoosiers is basketball, and I don't think Hail Marys apply in basketball. I mean, technically, I guess you could.
What am I thinking of? Wait, have I seen this movie? Is there a Hail Mary at the end?
I'm not going to tell you. We're
but
going to
if there
find out.
is, I've seen this.
Right. And then we've destroyed Missing Frames. Like this will be the last Missing Frames episode. We've ruined the podcast.
Oh no. I don't know. I don't know anything.
That's it. So it's about a guy named Rudy who's small and needs to prove himself. Does he prove himself by the end?
Via football.
Via football. He throws a Hail Mary at the end.
Yes.
And
his team accepts him and loves him, and he overcomes all the
his height problems.
And his daddy issues.
He grows
daddy issues.
Daddy issues.
Daddy
Okay.
issues.
Okay.
Coach issues.
Coach issues. Okay.
Clear eyes.
Full hearts can't lose. All right. Perfect. So we will go watch Rudy, and we will be back. Stay tuned.
Now available to own on video cassette.
And we're back. Sarah, how do you feel about Rudy?
I love him so much.
You love him, but do you love his movie?
His movie was pretty good.
Okay, good.
It was so good. You know when you watch a movie and you just feel...
You've lost me. I don't know what it's like to watch movies.
I gotta go. No, but I just was watching this and I'm like, who but Sean Astin could have executed this role perfectly?
That's what I was thinking.
He is charming and endearing and like just a puppy you want to hug and love. And it was wonderful. I want to watch it again. I can't believe I made it this far and didn't see this. Especially in my family. I'm surprised my parents didn't show me this movie.
Yeah,
because they love sports.
For people who love sports, I feel like it's an obligatory movie.
Right.
Because it's a family-friendly film.
Yeah.
It's an inspiring film.
It's not Hoosiers.
It's based on a true story.
I figured that out.
It's not Hoosiers. No Hail Mary. Were
No
you
Hail
disappointed
Mary.
there was no Hail Mary? Rudy did not throw a Hail Mary. I don't think he throws a ball in this,
he does a tackle. He sacks the guy.
He sacks
which is
the quarterback.
pretty awesome.
Which is great. But you said something that I was in the back of my mind and you verbalized it. But as we were watching it, you were like, if this guy was any less adorable, he would be insufferable.
Yeah.
Because he's always like not bothering people, but he's always like, hey, what can I do? Hey, how's it going?
It's
I love football so much.
Yeah.
I love Notre Dame. And he's always quoting stuff. He's always saying things. But it's the sincerity of Astin's performance that makes it work. There's not an ounce of like cynicism. It's nothing. It's nothing like that. It's just completely wide-eyed puppy dog.
Pure.
Yeah. And that's how I describe the movie. I don't think it's not perfect. I think there are things about it that certainly are like very, very cringy. Yeah. Not like things that break the movie, but certainly things watching it now, many years after I first saw it and loved it, I was like, oh yeah, this is a little much. I don't know how necessary this was. But overall, I'm very pleased to say that I still really enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's a film that I think if it was any less, what I'm trying to say is it's a film that seems to hit all the different tropes for this kind of movie. You have this underdog kid, he's never gonna make it. You have the best friend who's like, so like, yeah, I love you, man, and then he gets killed. You have the parents that don't support him. You have the brother that hates him, and then you have no one believes in him. But then like these mentors come into his life, and they always have the right speech at the right time, and the inspirational music, and so these are things that I think, in the hands of maybe a lesser filmmaker and certainly a lesser performer, any one thing, this is a very unsteady house of cards. Like you just get the sense that if anything had teetered on the edge of like bordering too far in that direction or this direction, it would have completely fallen apart.
Yeah. And the script, you've read a lot of scripts, right? I feel like I'm so curious because I'm like, what does it read like? Because again, a credit to Sean Astin's performance, but a lot of the dialogue, I would be cringing almost if I was just reading this on paper without a vision. You know what I mean? So it's kind of interesting that I haven't not read the script, obviously, but it's like even the dialogue, I'm like, but in the hands of him, it works.
It's Anspaugh's vision. And I remember that Anspaugh, again, assuming I'm saying that correctly. But, Hoosiers, I think is... that was 1986. This is about 7 years later. Same creative team as we established in the first part of the episode. But Hoosiers, I remember being a little bit more, having a little bit more of an edge to it. It's a little bit darker. It's not as, it's certainly an inspirational, uplifting film, but there's like elements like there's the assistant coach who has a drinking problem and things like that. So there's there's some darkness to it that's not here in Rudy. Rudy is very like, it's bright and sunny, not unrealistic in terms of like, it's not oblivious to human suffering. It's not like everything is great. It's certainly, and I think that's what keeps it from being too cliched in that way. But I really think it's his direction. I think the performances too, it's a great cast. There are some exceptions as far as like people who just go too far. The guy who plays Frank, his brother, is just too much. Ned Beatty, I think the worst written characters in the film are his dad and his brother.
His family, yeah.
It's just too much. Like when his dad sits him down at the bus stop and is basically like, you can't, dreams are like, there are a lot of, I don't know how many times somebody says dreamers aren't doers. Dreams are for foolish people. And it's like the fact that his dad like I was watching that scene and thinking, his dad doesn't need to say to him, like, you shouldn't do this because dreams always fall apart. Like, that's basically what the moral of the lesson is. And it feels so ham-fisted. What he could have said is, like, I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want you to go out there. He's like, it's okay. You got a good life here. Like, I wanted more of a sense of, like, you didn't have to villainize the dad so much and the brother so much. You could have toned it back a little bit. And I think leaning into those impulses hurt a little bit, but they don't, like, the film again is relatively grounded and focused on genuine, sincere human emotion, and that keeps it from going too far.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting because everyone basically, like, systematically fails Rudy in this movie, right? Like, his education system. You're not good enough for college. Why would you go visit the campus? Like, beating him down and down. And then his dad, and it's like, I kind of agree with you where it's like, yeah, you could have illustrated, but it was so much against him. And again, I know this is based on a true story, so maybe all that is true. I don't know, but in the movie, it was a little like, oh my God, this poor kid. Like,
we'll talk a little bit about what's true and what isn't true.
Okay, yeah, because I don't really know anything.
I remember you were his, I guess the teacher, the priest.
Yeah.
But when he's like, college isn't for everybody, and
I
it's
got
just
really
like,
angry.
Yeah, you were like, what a terrible teacher. But it did feel that to me felt like too much. It's like you're leaning way too hard into the setup of, like, Rudy isn't the type of kid who goes to college, but, like, really beating him down like nobody believes in him except for his best friend Pete, who is way too far in the other direction, where he's like, Rudy, I got you a jacket. Yeah. You're the best, Rudy. Don't let them get you down. I'm going to fight your brother for you. I'm going to love you. But it's like, it's supposed to be like a very pure friendship, but because Pete is so saintly, the only thing he can really do is die. I remember you were so upset. What was your note?
I wrote, I love Pete. And my next line was, Pete has died. Like, because literally.
He gets blowed up.
Well, because I feel like we had the scene in the diner or whatever where he gives him the jacket. He's like, go support your dreams. Like, I love you, man. And then, like, 30 seconds later, he was getting blown up. Yeah. And I was like, oh no, that was a hard left.
I don't know if that was based on a real person or a narrative device. I know that Rudy in real life didn't work at the factory.
The steel mill
he was
whatever?
in the Navy or something.
Okay.
He actually went and joined the Navy.
Okay.
And there are certain embellishments, of course, in terms of narrative storytelling, and especially for this kind of genre, where you have to, obviously, you can't just be like, all right, well, this is what happened, and we're sticking to that. Like, there are embellishments that I think really serve the film and make it a great film that, even if they didn't happen, and supposedly certain things didn't happen, I don't really care. It's a movie, and I want to enjoy the movie, and I want to.
Artistic license is allowed.
Exactly.
I mean,
I think in some cases, depending on what the story is, you probably want to be very cautious about how much you're embellishing. But when you're talking about like a football movie where it's like you want to stand up and cheer at the end of it, there are certain things that I'm willing to forgive. Now, in this case, like, the best friend who is like very, very like devoted to Rudy and loves him so much. It's like, again, there's just one guy in his entire life who supports him, and everybody else is just unnecessarily mean to this very sweet kid, like earnest kid, maybe a little annoying, but not like
his brother swooped in on his girl.
His
like,
other brother.
Oh,
so
man.
It's just, again, I
mean, I guess not his girl anymore. They broke up, but like, come on. Like, it was. So I think really only one issue, and it's kind of piggybacking off of what you said, where it's almost like they go a little too far. So just the drastic, like, amount, there's no support, like, and not even not supportive of him, but in the opposite direction, like discouraging his dreams, telling him he's not good enough, he's not going to amount to anything, blah blah blah, he's going after a fool's errand over and over and over. So when you get to the end and they're all like, oh, but he accomplished what he wanted, now we love him and we're proud of him, like, part of me bucked at that a little bit, because I get that it's the end of the movie and it's sentimental and I got washed up in that, but there is a part of me that's mad at his family because they were so awful to him.
What it needed? We
didn't have a conversation or something.
Well, what we
right?
needed to see, somebody tells us, basically somebody says, Rudy, you don't focus, you're not good at school.
Yeah.
We needed to see evidence of maybe Rudy, like, partying or like not being focused. So when
he had dyslexia. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like he
They
had
throw that in there.
undiagnosed dyslexia.
That's just a tossed off. Like he's like, oh, by the way, I have dyslexia. And it's like,
yeah. And it's like,
okay.
well, that's why you struggled, because
Yeah.
you could see that he was like, I just don't make good grades,
It
but I really
It would
try.
have made more sense if
Yeah.
Rudy was a kid who blew things off, but
Yeah.
he's painted from the get-go as kind of saintly.
Yeah.
Like he's he struggles and he's not the best at studying, but he's got
earnest.
heart, and
Yeah.
so it doesn't make sense that the family would be so outwardly.
It's like
mean
your
to him.
other boys are way worse than your sweet, sweet, sweetheart of a
Yes.
son.
The scene
Like,
that I
give me a
think
break.
one of the most ridiculous moments is the bar fight, and then when his dad's like, Rudy,
Yeah.
enough, and then he grabs he goes, Frank, good, and it's like, why would you say that? Your son beat him up. You could have just said Frank. Like you don't have to say anything. You could just patted him on the shoulder, but it just felt a little too much. But we've harped on the family. That's really my biggest thing.
That was honestly it. I
Yeah.
know now it sounds like I don't like the movie. I freaking
No,
love the movie.
I think-
but like that was a glaringly big issue for me.
I think it's not without fault in that it can't help but indulge in
Yeah.
these certain things, and you get the sense that it's like.
It's the drama.
As screenwriting tropes, as storytelling tropes, you get the sense of like what they're trying to do. It's like you
Sure.
really want to root, like you're rooting for Rudy. You want to feel like he has the world against him, so that when he succeeds, it's great.
It feels
but
that
the
much
reality
better.
is, you didn't need all that stuff because the movie is still so strong. Astin is so good. All the other performances are so great, and the filmmaking is really wonderful. The cinematography and just like it's a stunning looking film, and it all works. Like it's like I think the narrative of the film is strong enough that you don't necessarily need to lean into those things. And you have tropes like, for instance, Fortune, who's the janitor, who befriends him. Like it's kind of the wise kind of like janitor who takes him under his wing and is like no nonsense, but it's like that's certainly a cliche trope. Like this guy, like just takes care of him, gives him the key to the.
Yeah, it was like his
basement.
guardian angel.
Yeah, but like that works so well, and a lot of it has to do with the actor. I think it's Charles S. Dutton. I think that's how you. I've seen him in a couple things, but he's great. And a lot of what makes this film work, the direction is pretty understated, all things considered. The writing is, like you said, a little like. If you read this on the page, you'd be like, it's a little much. But I think the direction is subtle and straightforward enough, and the performances they're all real. Even Ned Beatty as the dad, I think, kind of wins you over because you get the sense of Beatty's performance finding the layers that maybe weren't there in the script. Mm-hmm. And every character is like that. Every performance is like that. Jon Favreau as his friend is like a breath of fresh air in the movie. Not that, again, not that the movie is like stale, but like Favreau is so natural and funny.
You
and
needed
sweet.
that
And
to
that's
offset.
and that's a character that could have been, again, like Rudy, obnoxious. Like this guy basically is like, I'll tutor you, but only if you get me girls.
It was so funny.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is going to be stupid. But I was like, I love it. Get him a girl.
It's really, really funny. It's really sweet. And I love their friendship with
John
each other.
Favreau was wonderful. Like he was so funny and charming and hilarious. And like, I don't know. I haven't seen anything of his early at all. It's like Marvel that's in my brain. Like, I don't know. But he was wonderful and their friendship was great. And I don't know. I like their friendship.
How do you feel about Vince Vaughn?
Such a jerk.
He's such a jerk, but then he's the one who calls the play at the end to get Rudy in the game.
Yeah.
I love.
He's great.
He goes, oh heck! If we don't do this now, they're not going to let Rudy play. It's like
it was so
very,
goofy
very
and
perfectly
sweet.
Yes. So.
Yeah, and the slow clap. Like there were definitely a couple moments where I was like, oh,
the slow clap I like because that's
do?
like it's not a slow clap. It's like a football thing. Okay. It's like me as the professional football person in this room. But no, it's like that's like a. They're not slow clapping. It's not the end of Chamber of Secrets where everyone gives Hagrid a standing ovation.
I thought it was
It's
slow
like
clap.
supposed to like be like, your like rousing energy. Or maybe it is a slow clap.
I don't know. Either
no, I never took
fine.
it as that. That's like something sports people do. They clap. I really enjoy like you not knowing anything about the film, you kind of were very much, and you didn't know the real story and I didn't tell you anything about it, but you were really, I noticed how enthralled and taken in with the ups and downs. Like, did you think, and by the way, we found out officially Notre Dame, not Notre Dame. We know this now. But like, you were so invested that I remember you were really expecting him to get into Notre Dame right away. And then like, there's this really effective, just like, they really, really make it work. Again, that's why we don't necessarily need these very extreme characterizations, because the movie does a great job of really making you feel like Rudy has everything working against him. Like, you really, really want him to get into this school. Even if you know he's going to get into it, the filmmaking is so well done that you are really like on the edge of your seat, kind of like, is he going to get in? So did you buy into that? Were you expecting him to get in? Did you think
okay, going into it, I was like, of course he's going to get in. It's Rudy. He plays football, like
What's
whatever.
the movie about?
But then I started doubting myself. I'm like, maybe I was too like cocky, and I'm like, I know what this is about, and I don't. But that's a testament for like how well I think they, executed the plot, really, because I had no idea. And I was like, every time he got rejected, I'm like, I felt heartbroken with him. And then the last, I was like, oh, he's probably not going to make it. This is a different movie than I thought it was. And then he did. And that was wonderful.
Yeah.
And the first thing he does is tell his dad.
Yeah.
And that touched me. I was like, man.
And then his dad's proud of him. Again, like the movie does not like.
Well, talk about someone who like, and you can call it naive or gullible or like maybe attach a negative connotation to it. But for a kid where his dad, like a good father, but like, like a 50s guy, like it was a different time. But for this kid to like still be seeking his dad's approval and his dad's love, even after his dad has been like, your dreams are foolish. Don't do it. You're disappointing me or whatever. But to still like pursue that is like very sad, but also like I kind of get it. It's like I think that's in a lot of us where we want to just make our parents proud of us. And I know it can be looked at as very cynical, but I just found it to be kind of sweet, I guess.
And I think that's where the movie is strengthened again by the performances. And even though there are these tropes that are set up, when he tells his dad reacts in a way you would hope his dad would. Like he's very proud and he's like, yeah, you did it. And then they kind of have like, you have to come to the game. We don't believe you're actually on the team. And it's like, okay, I'll buy this. I'll go with it because you want to again have that victory of, you really want Rudy to be motivated to want to be on
dress.
Yeah. And it's beyond just like the for him personally, it's something where it's like, I have to prove it to people. And I get you have to kind of make that tangible by giving it an actual external threat. Like you have to actually be like, my dad does not believe I'm on the team, therefore I have to play this game, or I have to dress for the game. So again, a little bit unbelievable, but intentions are utterly sincere. Are there any other moments that really stood out to you or were your favorites? I don't remember exactly, but I wrote it down because I loved it. But I think it might be towards the end, but when Rudy is like, have I done everything I possibly can? And that was kind of almost a common thread in the movie. Yeah, he says that a couple times.
Yeah, but it really like settled within me, and it really touched me, and I got emotional. I was like, oh, because I feel like you can take that. It's like a nugget of wisdom and like apply it to your life.
Well, it's like at a certain point, you've done everything you can, and now it's like it's up to fate. Yeah, and I think it's like,
and
what
I think
do? How you have to surrender yourself to whatever it is.
Yeah, and in his situation, it was like a resounding yes. It was like you went above and beyond. Yeah. Like you went further than most people would. And Fortune talks about that.
Well, that's
He's like,
I
look
love
what you've accomplished.
I love the kind of the reality check.
Look what you did,
yeah,
kid.
Rudy is so fixated on this one particular thing that he's lost sight of like
everything
what he's done.
Yeah.
And I think that happens to people, I've done it, and like many people have done it, where you're so focused on one thing, and like, if I could only just do this one thing, that you lose sight of like, here are all the many, many things I've accomplished and
you forget the journey.
And you take for granted, and you really take yourself for granted in a way that's toxic and hurtful, because if you're not looking at what you've truly accomplished, because you're so focused, it's like, oh, I know I did that, but if only I could do this. And it's like, but that doesn't matter. Like you said, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And I love that. Again, the movie is smart enough to acknowledge those things, and it's smart enough to like, Rudy is certainly borderline saintly, as I already said, but he's not perfect, and he has issues, and he's also wonderful. It's tough. It's like, there is something kind of silly about like basically the real life Rudy kind of pitched the story. So it's funny to think of him like being like, yeah, I am amazing and I worked so hard and da-da-da. But more power to him. That guy hustled.
I mean,
like
yeah.
he hustled and got this movie made.
Good for you. Yeah.
He basically said, make a movie about my story. Here it is. And somebody at Hollywood said like, yeah, let's do it. That's a great story. Speaking of which, do you want me to tell you things that really happened? Do we want to look at the fact versus the fiction?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So there are a couple things, like first and foremost, the coach, the Green Bay Packers coach that comes in, there's that moment where it's like, oh no, is he going to get to dress for the game? And the new coach is kind of like,
Yeah,
no,
he's
I
a
don't
little
want Rudy.
villainy.
The real Dan Devine was very supportive of him.
Oh,
and
that's
really,
a big
really
switch.
was like.
But
yeah,
I
of
guess
course you
they
can.
needed that at
Again,
the end.
things that don't bother me because they add that
Do you
extra.
think Dan Devine was pissed about his portrayal?
Yeah, well,
Because I
apparently
would be a little hurt.
Apparently, he gave permission. He said, "I
Okay.
get it. Make me the villain.
Okay.
That's fine." And he's not really a villain.
No, he's not a villain. But for this story, he's as villainous as you get.
Well, I mean, even in the movie, he's not that bad. Like, it's basically like he's just like, "Oh, I'm not going to play him." Like,
Yeah.
and then he doesn't like, on the field. The only time where you get a sense of him being malicious is when they're like, "Put Rudy in." He's like, "No." And then everyone has to chant him into submission. But so that's one thing. And he said he was actually really hurt by the scene with the jerseys because that never happened. Like he's like the idea that these players came in and like sacrificed, like I want Rudy to take my place. That never happened. Although the real Rudy does claim that some seniors went to Dan and said like,
Can you? Something?
Yeah. Which if the coach was supportive of Rudy, then I don't know why. Again, I don't know where the fact and the fiction is.
Maybe
but
somewhere in
There
between.
seems to be a strong like players who were involved and on the team and this coach were like, no, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
The chanting Rudy didn't happen,
Dang
but
it.
him being carried off the field did happen. The sack did happen. Like that.
Is there
all
a
that stuff.
video of that?
I'm sure you could find
That'd
it
be
online.
cool to watch, yeah.
Now, I think it was Joe Montana who is, I don't know exactly what he did. I know he's a name I recognize
His
as a
name
football
sounds
player.
familiar.
He's a famous football player. Now, he was a freshman who played at Notre Dame when Rudy was a senior. Okay. And he claims that the guys who carried Rudy off the field were like the biggest pranksters on the team, so that it was kind of more done tongue in cheek, like, yeah, and they carried him off the field. That wasn't, I don't know if that was confirmed by anybody else. That was just him who said like, yeah, they were pranksters. But it also doesn't change the fact that like, I don't know if this has changed now, but at the time the movie was released, he was the only player who had ever been carried off the field like that. So even if it was a tongue-in-cheek thing, it's still like it's not like it's not like a malicious prank.
No.
Like it's not
There
done
are worse
like,
things you can do. To
right.
somebody.
It's not like somebody pulled his pants down and was
Yeah.
like,
What was his
JK,
final
gotcha.
game? Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't-
Like, it's, if there was ill intention behind it, I don't see it as something that was hurtful.
Yeah.
Like I still enjoy it for what it is. But I think
Me
all
too.
this stuff, like those are things. His dad, Rudy's family, was very supportive of him and all this stuff. They were not angry, mean people who beat him down.
I wonder how they felt about it.
Yeah, you have to.
Did he have a girlfriend that hooked up with his brother?
That I
That's
don't know
the
either.
real
Like,
question.
it's fun, but it's also like from a narrative standpoint, like as somebody who writes and wants to do this professionally, but as somebody who is so married to the idea of like, it has to be true. It has to be true. But then you look at a movie like Rudy, where it's like they kind of amp things up a little bit. They twist things. They add things. Like, for instance, the end of the movie doesn't work as well. First of all, if Rudy is just going to play the game, like it's like, yeah, I'll honor this agreement you had with the coach.
Of
like,
course.
let's do it.
Yeah.
If you don't have the beat with the players putting their jerseys on the desk, like it cements the fact that the players love him and appreciate him.
You need
so they are
stakes.
willing
You
to
can't just make it
they're willing to
easy.
put
Yeah.
themselves out on a limb for him. And then like the chanting at the end, of course, like it gives it that extra little oomph to make it a crowd pleaser. These are things that don't bother me. They enrich the film, which is the way this story will live on forever and ever. And it helps the film be even better. Even if, like, again, things like the chanting, I wonder sometimes if I had seen this today and I hadn't grown up with it, if things like that would have irked me a little more. But did you feel that at all? Like the chanting I really love. Like it's kind of goofy, but
So I was so invested at that point. I don't think nothing fazed me. I was just like, I was chanting with them.
Well, they've done such an effective job again of,
right.
And it's not like the movie. I know I kind of joked about it, like, oh, the guy Rudy came up with the story, pitched it to Hollywood as like, I'm a true American hero, but it's not like he made himself like perfect, like super hot, handsome, big, muscular, like could do no wrong, a hit with the lady. Well, kind of. There's like a weirdly like it's like a romantic subplot that doesn't really go anywhere, but also we didn't really need a romance in this movie. Like I know there's his girlfriend who ends up with his brother, but then there's like the girl who does the boosters that they kind of drop that. Like it's like he kind of he hits it off with her, and then she finds out that he's not really going to Notre Dame, and then we forget about her, and then during practice he goes up to her and he's like, hey, don't I know you? And it's a nice little payoff, but then it's like you never see her again. But I don't want a love story in this movie, frankly. The love story is between Rudy and Notre Dame.
It would have been too overstuffed.
Too much. Yeah. So I'm glad they didn't include that. But I think the reason the movie doesn't fall into the cliche category for me is because what it's celebrating is the human spirit. There's nothing major that Rudy accomplishes. There's nothing like that makes him a superhero or larger than life. He's just persistent. He works hard, and finally he gets one. He doesn't throw a Hail Mary. He doesn't get a touchdown. He gets to do a couple plays,
which was his dream.
And he sacks the quarter. It's a little moment. It wasn't gonna win the game. It's not a game-winning moment. They were already winning the game. But it's about what it means to him and the journey for him to get there. And that's what's beautiful about it. That's why the film works so well, because it doesn't have any illusions about like, you have to do something this grand to achieve like meaning in your life. It's like, no, it could just be as simple as like, you got to play with Notre Dame, the football team you've been dreaming about for all this time. Like a little moment in your life that means so much more because of the sacrifices you made to get there. I think that's why it's a great movie. Like I think that's why it works, is because it's not trying to be any bigger than what it is, and
I'm so lost in this movie. It's so good.
It's a sweet movie. Is there anything else? As far as I love Jerry Goldsmith's score. I think it's a wonderful score. Did you recognize it at all? Did it sound familiar to you?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
It's one of my favorites by him. I think it's such a good soundtrack, and I think. I love anything with Rudy just like on the team, like pushing himself, getting injured and like getting back up, all that stuff I really love. It's a wonderful movie. Like I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's strangely enough a film that works despite itself to become something like, frankly, a classic. So anything else you want to say about it?
I loved the scene where Rudy he gets to go to the locker room for the first time.
Yeah.
And it's just so like, he's just revering everything. And you see Fortune kind of watching him. And we didn't talk about this, but the reveal of Fortune being a football player, right?
Yeah.
Which now I'm like thinking back on that scene. I'm like, oh, that's really neat. And like him doing the whole speech, he gets the stool, and it's something that could be so cheesy, but Sean Astin just like knocks it out of the park, you know? And
Sean Astin is like the
wonderful
king of being in movies and giving like
speeches.
Oscar worth. I mean,
Yeah.
we attribute too much value to the Oscars, but like Oscar worthy, quote unquote, like his performance in this, his performance in The Lord of the Rings, particularly Return of the King. I just feel like he's a phenomenal actor, and he himself comes across as such a sincere, sweet person. Yeah. And that is imbued in these two characters, like Rudy, a puppy dog kid who just wants to do his best and play football for Notre Dame, and Sam, who's like loyal and will do anything to save his friend.
Yeah, and with Sean Astin and Rudy, you know, I was thinking about, we listened to the episode, the Michael Rosenbaum podcast, Inside of You, that he did with Sean Astin. And there was I don't remember, I wish I remembered exactly.
The moment he was referencing as like, I think he said the proudest moments of his acting career. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he mentioned any others, but you know, when Lord of the Rings won, when it swept the Oscars, and then the moment when, as far as an acting moment for him, when he got accepted to Notre Dame. Yeah. He said that's one of the moments he's most proud of as far as his career goes. And it's It's so good.
It's so
So good.
I want to watch
It's
it
a great
again.
movie.
It's
a great
great.
movie to watch on Super Bowl Sunday.
I want to know what Rory will think of it one day.
Yeah,
Weirdly,
yeah.
I'm just
Rory,
I wonder.
Rudy.
Yeah, lots of
I
R's.
think we got some Notre Dame football in our future. But yeah, so all right. Well, what should our final ratings be? How many jerseys on the desk of the coach would you lay down for Rudy? With 1 being the lowest amount of jerseys and 5 being the highest. 5. Okay, I'll give it 4.
I really loved it.
I
I'm
only-
glad you shared it with me.
I'm glad you loved it. And thank you, as always, for being a part of this show. And thank you, everybody, for listening. If you like what you hear, please feel free to rate us on Apple Podcasts. Give us a 5-star rating, review us. And if you want to find me on Twitter, I am at YaySeanDoorman. You can also find me on Letterboxd. It's just SeanDoorman05. And thank you, everybody, for listening. We will see you at the movies.